All right, man. We're live. This is We Are Fucked Radio. No Diddy. I'm joined by the legendary man, Armchair Revolutionary, the
You're the
legendary
king of
Armchair
flattery.
Revolutionary. No, for real. I got a lot of respect for you, bro. So you were
Like,
saying your friend makes action figures?
yeah, I have a friend. I met him through OG Silverback. He makes action figures. He was a with his normal job. He was a private detective. He saw the corruption in the police force, and wasn't going to go into law enforcement for true altruistic reasons. Saw the corruption in the police force in L.A. and then became a private detective, so he didn't have to answer to the actual state because state police, we all know they're fucked up. So he became a private detective. He got multiple sclerosis, so he had to retire early from that in his early 40s, and now he does action sells action figures for his along with his disability check, which is less than the military disability, but he gets a disability check for having multiple sclerosis. He sells action figures on the side. He recently made me a. It's in my car, I think, right now. He had made me a custom Black Captain America hat. He made me a custom Punisher hat, and he made me a custom The Crow, the classic version with Brandon Lee's um, Bruce Lee's son custom movie, The Crow hat, which I love that movie as a kid.
Okay. How does he make it?
He just custom him, and he'll just buy the hat. He buys hats, for example, in bulk. He gets like he'll get the action figures from the mainstream sources, where the Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and he will customize them to make them even better. Like he'll give them cloth. He did that for me at one time too. I could show you. He made me a custom Star Wars action figure with my face on the action figure,
Yeah.
and then he gave me
What?
a Darth. I can show you. I'll go get it for you. The Dark Sith Lord lightsaber and my custom face with my mustache, everything, but with Sith Lord eyes, short black man hair, and just with holding a lightsaber and a pistol. Because
He
it's my star. It's based on the video game Star Wars, where it could be any person. The
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
guy could be anybody. So that was a classic video game from the early 2000s. I loved that as a kid. So he made me that custom figure. I dressed up as that for Comic Con one time. And he made. And I sold him my Comic Con outfit where I have the Sith Lord lightsaber. Hold on, he's calling me now. Actually, sorry about that. I'll mute it.
My bad. Oh, I thought you was gonna answer. Oh, he's what's going on, Kev? I dropped the link if you want to call in.
Oh no, I told him I muted my phone on here, but I'm telling him I'm gonna call him back in 30 minutes because we were just talking about X-Men, which you really
Oh,
don't give
okay,
a shit.
okay. I mean, yeah.
I
Tell him
knew
to
it.
call. Tell him to call into the show if he wants.
No, he probably don't want to call into the show. Well, he might. He might. Let me see if
Yeah,
you
just
want to.
see if you
He
want to
might.
call in. But
Okay.
because bro, if I could get like if I could get my fucking head on Goku, bro, or some shit like that, I'll pay for it.
Oh, dude. Yeah, he will. I will hook you up with him, and he will make you. It only cost you like $100, and he'll make you a
Okay.
custom figure. I'll show you my custom figure in a sec. Free advertisement for him.
Yeah, yeah. That's fucking dope.
I'll show you my. You'll blow your mind real quick when I
Cause
show
I'm
you my.
trying to figure out how is are we talking about like 3D printing? Like how is he
No, he doesn't use 3D print it. He actually sculpts it. He
Oh
sculpts to make your
shit.
face. He sculpts it.
Oh shit. That's
Yeah, I'm gonna get my. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get the custom figure for you. I have it in a display case. I'll get it
all
for you.
right.
Oh, it's right here. It was. My mom put it in my room. Okay, here it is. Here it is. The my custom face on a Sith. I don't know. It's in full focus. My custom face on a Sith Lord.
Oh shit.
If you saw it in real life, it really does look like me. When I still had a military haircut when I showed him the photo. So gave me the Sith Lord eyes, mustache, goatee, and I gave him a Mandalorian laser pistol and a light. And he gave me the custom lightsaber.
Bro, I'm surprised you didn't get like a Dune character.
Well, I've been a Star Wars fan for longer than Dune. I got into Dune recently. I saw Dune as a kid, but didn't get into it until I actually was in training. I read the Dune book in 2019. But so I've been a Star Wars fan since I've been a kid, though, because Star Wars is more accessible. So
Okay.
Dune gets so crazy, it gets kind of weird.
Bro,
I gotta say the new movie was good, even though Miss It Girl Zendaya, Miss Mulatto chick Zendaya, who loves white boys, she was annoying. But
yeah, shout out Jonathan, man. I'm subscribed to his channel.
oh yeah, you've been Benning back in the day. Never been to Benning. Yeah, leadership is dog shit in the army. I mean, that's always been. I talk to everybody. They have dog shit leadership. You know, I was at Fort. I did training in Fort Leonard Wood and Fort Sam Houston, and I was stationed at Fort Bliss. I've never been to Benning. I hear it sucks. Because Benning, I'm probably not that. I'm probably like 4 hours from Fort Benning. Yeah, man. Thanks, man. I'm glad.
That's
Thank you for your service, Jonathan.
That's great, bro. I do want to do a show with just like, but like veterans,
Yeah.
but from a real perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay. He send me. You want me to send him the link?
yeah, man, send the
Yeah.
link.
Okay. Hey, I'm sending him the link now.
That's what's up. Bro, I can't believe we could go live on both our channels at the same
Yeah, it's
time.
crazy,
This
right?
is crazy as hell.
That's crazy, right? He's
This
about
is
to join,
crazy.
probably. He's probably about to join. His name is he's a black dude named Drew Danger, but he's like he I love dude, but he's the whitest black dude you know.
So shout out Kev. I didn't see the eclipse. It wasn't much of shit over here.
Yeah,
Like
you
I
probably
didn't.
didn't get him direct a few in Jersey. Over here in North Carolina, it didn't. It would just dim the sky slightly, and it went right
Yeah,
back to normal.
yeah,
So
that's
we
what
we're not in
happened.
the direct umbra or shadow of the moon. We weren't in the direct line of it. And my friend in Chicago area, he said didn't. It was only a partial in his area as well.
Yeah. It sucks, bro. I
He
didn't
said
really
he's
see
moving
it.
back down here to the south here next month, but he's in Chicago with his mom right now. But he said it was not a direct hit. Florida didn't get nothing. I don't think Florida was didn't get. I don't think didn't get a very good show at all.
Yeah, bro. And it's funny because a lot of people was outside over here, but it wasn't anything to see. It
I
just looked
remember the
like
2017 thing, the 2017 one, back in the day. It was it just dipped the sky very slightly in Florida. I was in Florida at the time. Dimmed the sky very slightly, just like this one.
but then some people are saying that what they saw wasn't necessarily like the object that moved in front of the sun. Some people are theorizing that it wasn't even a moon. They're saying it might have been a different object.
I don't know. I would have to be. Would have to see the footage or see that myself to tell you something like that. Or they sound it's the Death Star from Star Wars. People made that joke recently on Facebook.
It's crazy, man.
But the people I've seen some high quality photos from NASA about it. A friend of mine I served with sent me a photo from NASA about it, and it looked really. You still see some of the features on the moon, and then you see all the corona ejection from the sun. Looks insane. All the plasma emissions.
Oh. Well, I don't believe shit NASA say, bro. I'm gonna be honest
Me
with
either. Me either. I'm very suspicious. I've not met one Space Force person.
you. Space
Even
Force.
I've not met one. I mean, I met Air Force people. I met Navy people. I've met Marines. I've never met Space Force. I've even met people that were in the Coast Guard in the fire
Right.
department last year. But I've never met a space. And asked my veteran affairs in the town south of me. I asked them like, "You ever even met a Space Force veteran?" And they said no. But in North Carolina, it's probably maybe. But I would think we got Fort Bragg right around the corner. Now it's called Fort Liberty, but we all call it Bragg. I was talking to my uncle about that. Who served in Fort Bragg, and we were like, yeah, it's still Bragg to us. It's still gonna always be Fort Bragg. They
Right.
changed the name of Fort Bragg last year for these generals decide, oh, we're going to, because Fort Bragg is named after a Confederate general, we're going to change the name. And I'm like, really?
Right.
I think it was two
Yo.
brothers. One was the fort one there was a officer for the Union during the Civil War, and an officer, they were brothers in the Civil War on rival parts of the original Civil War, and they're both named Bragg. And it does what's it, of course what, but they try to erase the Confederate history of America to try to act like racism didn't happen. So it's so
Yeah.
retarded.
Yo, that's hilarious.
Remember the past. I think we should remember the past. I mean, the founder of the Freemasons in America, Albert Pike, he was a Confederate general. So I mean, they took down a statue a few years ago, like they want to erase these guys, and it's like, no, this still happened. It's still slavery still happened. All that stuff still happened. I don't understand why we have to forget it. They want us to. They want to do like 1984 and throw it down the memory hole, and it's like, no, it happened. We have to
But
remember
but
it. We're
but
gonna be
hold
bitter.
on. You're saying that Albert Pike created the Freemasons in America?
He was a big founder of it and got it
Oh,
popular. No, George Washington was a member of it, but I
yeah.
think he expanded the Freemason temple. Man, but you have this is a very small town. We have a Freemason temple across the street from a grocery store in this town. There's a Freemason temple every 10 miles in America. And I think Albert Pike was the pioneer. He wrote the Freemason Bible and the Morals and Dogma, and he expanded the Freemasonry in America. Now, it came over here with the British colonials anyway, but Albert Pike really expanded the Freemasonry temples, where now there's one every 10 miles in America. I mean, if you're looking, and I was thinking about it the other day because I went to a grocery store to run some errands over the weekend. I was like, wow, there's a Freemason temple across the street in this small town. And I'll be in Florida sometimes and I'll see one in a small town and I'll see a Freemason temple and it blow my mind like, wow, there's a Freemason temple in this small town. It's insane when you're on the
Bro,
look for them.
bro, there's a lodge literally basically across the street from my house.
Wow.
Like literally.
This house, there's one literally a mile and a half away from my house, across the street from the grocery store. So it's right there.
It's
And it's
crazy.
probably been
It's
there
crazy as
100 years.
hell. Yeah, it's crazy as hell, dude. Like, but you know what's funny? Like, I never really see. I don't know unless they meet up at nighttime. I never really see them like hanging out during the day. Like, I never
Well,
see.
they don't wear no Freemason stuff outside in public, man. It's a society with secrets, so they don't wear the
No, no,
Freemason.
no,
Yeah,
no. I'm saying like I never see anybody at these buildings
I
like
think they
during the
meet at night.
day.
They meet at night.
Yeah.
In these small towns, they got probably 30 members, and they meet all at night, and do their weird satanic stuff. But Freemasonry, a lot of it came from ancient Egypt as well. They just again. Oh, hey man, hey, what's up, Drew?
Hey, how's it going?
Go on, man. Hey, you're looking good.
I'm trying to. Sorry, I just had time to grab the hat. I didn't want to miss the show, so I put on a X Factor shirt
Yeah,
and hoodie
I
to match.
got the hat you made for me. Custom. I think it's in my car. The custom Captain America hat. I need to
Sweet.
I should put that on. And so yeah, we was talking, but I was about to get into X-Men with you. Like he's so the host of the show, Low Key T. He's more into
Yeah.
anime, and he wanted probably to ask you about making him a custom anime figure with his face on it.
Okay.
If you're up to
Okay.
that, but I know you have your battles with your disease, but
Depending on what you want to have done, I might be able to pull something off for you. I gotta see what exactly you want to do.
I was trying to get my head on Goku.
Okay. All right. So to do that, two things. I'm gonna need your best pictures that you like of yourself.
Okay.
How exactly you want Goku to look, and then I'll be able to kind of like look around and see if I can make that work okay for you, and then match you exactly with the likeness, and then add that onto your body. Now with Goku, here's the thing. Now, Goku has a what kind of skin tone we looking at? Because if you want a Goku body,
Yeah.
like I can give you a Goku body, but you're gonna have some pasty Japanese, complexion
Yeah.
if that's what you want. because he's kind of pasty. So
Yeah, Japanese people.
That, or we
they
could
make
change the skin color, to a skin tone more fitting towards you.
I gotta be melanated Goku, bro.
Okay, we can do that. I
knew he was gonna do. I knew he was gonna do that.
I have to ask because some people are like, I want to look like this. Some people got weird requests sometimes, so I got to look at what people want to do. So I'm just trying to make whatever you want. That's what I try to give. It's like, you want this, then it's all right, I'll give you that. If you want a Michael Jackson special, I can do that for you too. So it depends on what you want.
Right.
So you just let me know, Corey will tell you about me,
yeah, he does great work. I showed him the figure, your Star Wars figure you did for me.
Yeah.
And I was blown away, and it was just amazing. I was blown away. I gave him a pistol, just my little addition to it.
Yeah.
It looks amazing to me because best little Sith Lord I've ever seen. And it's just my face as a Sith Lord, which is that's me.
Well, Corey, you trying to claim the evil side there?
Yes.
Or something?
Yes.
So I got to make that O.J. Simpson figure one of these days.
Bro,
my wife won't let me do it though.
Bro,
I need that new Jack too. I need a new Jack.
They got one for him. I think I sent you the link for it. They made one of him.
Yeah, I think I need to buy it. I want to buy that on payday.
So, like my wife won't let me make it, but I want to make an O.J. Simpson.
I know why she don't want to be. You might get possessed by OJ.
I'm like, oh man, just like the shirt. She wouldn't let me get the shirt. So, I was trying to be him for Halloween one year. I wanted to be Bill Cosby one year. She said no. She said no. I'm not gonna let you do that one.
Oh man.
And I said, oh man. And she's like, well, who am I supposed to be? I said, well, in that case, you'd be Nicole.
That would OJ. I'd be through.
She was like,
a heart attack.
Then we were gonna do Tiger. I was trying to do Tiger Woods and Ellen. I was trying to do that one.
That made me laugh too.
Oh yeah, I had a friend that did it, and he had a black eye. He had a black eye.
That's funny.
And he's like, in the picture, he's standing there like this with the black eye. And then his wife is Ellen, and she has the sunglasses like she wears with a big smile on her face with a golf club in her hand. And he's like with the black eye, and she's like this.
God, you killing me.
I'm gonna see the picture.
Oh man, kill me.
Man, I'm goofy like that. But you know me, I don't consider myself to be black, so it's all good. Yeah. I tell people, they're like, we're going to take your black card. And I was like, I never had one, so it's okay.
I was telling Drew that you look black, but you're the whitest man I know.
If I wasn't on screen, everybody would think I look like Keanu Reeves, right? Or Alexander Winter, for sure. Yeah.
That's you have that Cali accent, man. You got that Cali accent.
So, and it's real. It's not. I'm not one of those guys that like went and tried to adopt it, because there was plenty of guys doing that. But I've had this since I was like 2 years old, 1 year old.
And that's the thing. My father did the same thing. Like growing up, he turned off his country accent. I could turn mine on and off if I want to. Like I can just when I get comfortable. And they said that about me in the military. It's like, I was talking to a guy and he was like, get comfortable, and you start swinging more, and they're like, man, you sound like a redneck. Like, well, I'm from the South. Like, what do you?
Hey, I should have put on a Bill and Ted shirt and my Bill and Ted hat.
Hey,
oh man, yeah, what's up?
Can you drop the link for see if Jonathan want to call in?
Oh, okay. Let me drop the link. Okay, I'll drop the link in there.
And I know my fucking my audio might be kind of bad right now. I'm on my iPad.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
cool. What are you guys talking about? Some X-Men, some anime?
Yeah, that's what I talked about. I talked about in the last show. I talked about the military, and then I talked about X-Men, and now I got way more to talk about because this one was like, wow. So spoiler alert for this one, because it's gonna be
Corey, when are you doing a show about the skin bleaching show? When's that happening?
The skin bleaching show?
Yeah, when's
that's
that
you.
happening?
That's you.
We gotta talk about that.
What's that? The guy, I don't remember, a Jamaican singer named Vibe Cattell. He bleached himself so bad he looked like a freak. Just like Kim, Lil Kim did it recently too.
We gotta talk about it doesn't really damage the skin. It just goes in just a little bit, and you can kind of just blend it in, like lotion.
No, I'm not doing that. I look like Michael Jackson.
Lotion, just
no, that Michael Jackson look. You look like a freak. Can't go in the sun no more.
Well, you get a sun hat on, and you could just kind of just
turn to a vampire. No thanks.
You could do it.
What's up, gentlemen?
Hey, what's up, John?
How you doing? I didn't know, Big G. I didn't know you watched my channel.
Oh, who? You mean me? Low key?
Yeah. You watch my channel?
Yeah, bro. It's low key T for president.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
So
yeah, I'm glad to be a. Huh?
You're at Benning?
Yeah. I was there from 03 to 06.
Back in the day, okay.
Man, I'm telling you, dude.
You ever been to Fort Leonard?
When I was no, I only went to Benning, Fort Irwin, Fort Polk, and Kuwait and Iraq. So
of course, that was during the Iraq War, yeah. So
yeah, dude. When I got out in 06, all of our leadership, all of our first sergeants were Masons.
Oh, you froze. You froze there, John. John froze. But yeah, I knew I had a bad NCO that was a Freemason. He was terrible.
What's up with this Freemason stuff floating around? Like, a lot of people seem to really be talking about it. I mean, I know it's been around forever, but I just noticed there's been an especially when I came out here to Colorado, there was like a big explosion of like people that were really into that.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
My dad's a 32nd degree Mason. I called him out for being a degenerate boomer, dude. And they were sending like,
oh my God.
Yeah, they were sending because in the South, dude, there's Masons everywhere, and there was some targeted individual shit going down on me, dude. And that shit's real, man. Like, I had to dip out of the South
I believe
to avoid that.
John,
they're everywhere in the South. They're every 10 miles.
They're
North
fucking
Carolina,
everywhere,
South
man.
Carolina, Florida. They're every 10 miles. There's one in this small town, right up the road.
Yeah,
so they're everywhere.
Yeah, he's a Shriner too, but he was in Vietnam. But he's a dirtbag, man. The whole thing with the boomer generation is they just got to get out of DC, man. I'm just getting tired of all these bosses being boomers. All these politicians are fucking old and need to get out and get some young blood in there, man. And it ain't happening. They just won't let the torch go, bro.
They're outdated in their mentalities.
Hey, John, do you know the highest level you can go to? Shriner's not the highest level, right?
I think the highest rank is 33rd degree.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my dad was high up there, man, big time, dude. But he was the only reason why he got a job as a cop in Tennessee back in the day was because he said because he was a Mason. That was the only reason why he got a job there, and that was back in like the 80s.
Run by masonry, hands down.
Yeah. So, any of you guys watch Coach Greg Adams at all?
A little bit.
I've seen him. Yeah, I've seen him.
Man, he is hitting some fucking high points lately, man. He's snapping a lot of guys out of getting married and becoming marrying single moms. And, I just think it's great what he's doing, man. But I'm just so glad I didn't get some dumb chick pregnant, dude. Man, I'm so glad. Yeah, because I don't know if you guys ever been around Tennessee, but I used to date this mud shark called, I forget her name, but she was in a town called Antioch, and she used to date only black guys. But she gave old Johnny a chance, too. But, man, thank God I didn't get her pregnant. That would have sucked.
Now, you said
that would have been awful.
I lived south of Memphis, Tennessee 10 years as a kid. So I passed when I got out of the military. I passed through there February of last year and went to Tunica.
Okay.
Elvis Presley's grave and then went to his house, Graceland.
Do you guys have any kids
No, Drew does, where he's only one of the kids, I think.
Well, yeah, I'm getting ready to. I almost forgot to put it on. So let me get this right. All right, now I got it on. So yeah, I'm married. Married 13 years.
Damn, good for you, bro. I can't find a keeper, man. Fuck, dude.
Yeah,
White girls
been,
bad shit. You got California girl, man. Shit, that's the
she's
melting pot.
Colorado.
She Colorado? Oh, I got you a granola girl. Yeah.
So
hell
she's
yeah,
a horse trainer. So yeah, I'm from SoCal. I'm from LA County. Born in West Covina. So I'm from there. My wife was visiting my cousin at the time. She was in Africa on a mission trip, birthing babies and helping people over in Tanzania, Africa at the time. And so my cousin knew her, and was like, you got to wait a year, but I think you'll want to meet her. That's when she's done with the mission trip. So she came back and went to my cousin's house with, and he called me right after I came back from San Diego Comic-Con. I got a call, and then I, set up my stuff and then went over there, and that's how we met. And we got married 3 months later of knowing each other.
Dude, good for you, man. It's hard to find a keeper nowadays, bro.
Yeah, and I mean, who knows somebody for 3 months and then marries them and been married for 13 years?
Yeah, that's what
it's a rarity.
Not now.
Yeah.
Shit, I can't even keep a chick for 13 days. Shit.
Me, I've never been past 6 months. Never.
You guys just got to find the right places. Now, I mean, 2024, it's 10 times harder than when I was single. There's a lot going on. Back then, like you could go to Colorado and you could go to Texas and different places and actually find decent girls, like fantastic ones. It was funny because I remember, I think it was right before we got married? Yeah, I think it was right before we got married. I was out here in Colorado visiting with her and my cousin. And he had like a friend of his, like they had like a mutual friend. And I mean, this girl was like gorgeous. I mean, she looked like a little bit like Margaret Robbie gorgeous. Okay. Nice. Imagine like a tall Margaret Robbie with a bob cut, like a blonde bob cut. That's what she looked like.
Yeah.
And all she did was like the whole time she was like, I couldn't find a guy back where I'm from. And out here in Colorado, there's just like not a lot of guys and like all my friends. And then she's like, see, look at all my friends. She had like 10 girls that looked level 10 girls on the picture. And they were like looking for guys. And they were searching for him. And that's how it was back in, what was that, in 2011. So
but that was before the iPhone really got big, dog.
Yeah.
That's when it changed everything, dude.
Yeah, things have changed. So I feel for you guys, especially Corey over there being single. Like it's gonna be hard, man. Like the way your personality is with the girls of today, I don't know if they're gonna go for it. It's not to say they're not out there, but it's gonna be kind of hard. You might have to go to where OG's at in the Philippines or Australia or something like that, man. You might have to venture out to find somebody decent that's not going to.
Yeah, but you got to stay there. You can't bring it back to America because then it's all dicked up, man. When you bring it back here,
what you got to do is you got to keep her away. Like Rampage Jackson talked about that. He was like his wife from Japan. He had to keep her away from his mom because the moment he got around the mom was getting in her head. So like,
oh hell,
keep her away from that. That's kind of the thing. It's like when I married my wife, she was new, so she didn't know people out in California really. So I didn't have to worry about it. And I didn't really hang around people like that, so it was cool. But if she had like gotten around like a lot of California girls, my wife she's pretty strong in where she stands, so it would have been fine. But to have someone that's not grounded be around like a lot of California girls that are really materialistic and things, it would have went real bad. So
That's real shit,
that's
bro. You speaking the truth right now.
it is, man. I've been around the block. Corey will tell you. I've dated
he told me some crazy stories.
just about some of everything and ran into everything that you guys wouldn't even imagine.
Hey man,
As
we
Winston
need a
said,
story, man. We need a story. Let's
you need
go
a
on.
story. As Winston said in Ghostbusters, I see stuff that'll turn you white. You know, like I've seen it. You guys, tell you what, I will do something even better. You guys give me a subject, I'll see if I got a story. And if I got one, it's gonna be really a banger. Trust me. I've lived it. There's nothing I haven't seen.
Well, California, I'm sure you got plenty of crazy stories, man.
I've got a ton. You
had a girl that moved on the next day from dating you. I think you told me one time, and you saw her in the movie theater with another guy, and she had a baby. She got pregnant real soon. Dude,
was that me?
Yeah, I think you told me a story like that. This was a couple months ago. You told me a story like that where she moved on the next week from dating you, and you're like, I had this awkward seeing her thing, and you're like, oh, okay. You saw her, and it was kind of awkward. You're seeing an ex girl, and it was kind of awkward.
Was that the Mormon girl?
I can't remember. I thought she was just a straight up California girl, like straight up California.
Are you sure about the Mormon girl? Because that sounds like the Mormon girl.
It might be her. I could.
She
maybe
didn't
I
have
could
any
remember.
kids, but I remember I told you when I dated her, like it was like very covert. Like a lot of people were not allowed to know. And then one day, I guess she thought her brother and sister were going to be cool about the situation. I saw them. I met with her, and they happened to be there, and they saw me. Well, they went back and told mom and dad. And once that got to the whole Mormon clique, I never saw her again until way down the road with another girl at the mall. And I randomly just walked past like this coffee shop, and she was coming out as I was walking by. So we were like this, and her eyes got real big, and she ran back in the coffee shop and was like hiding.
Damn.
And that was kind of the thing, because she didn't want me to, she didn't want to run into me, because the first thing I'm going to do, well, I'm with a girl she was pretty, but this girl was even better. So I'm not going to really talk to her. But if I was by myself, I'd be like, what the heck happened to you?
What year was this, Drew?
This was this is when my dad was still, so this was in 2005.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, this was in 2005. So I dated two Mormon girls and 2 Jehovah's Witnesses.
Whoa.
And
Yo.
if you mess with girls like that, they if their families, here's the weird thing. Even if when I was in high school and I dated one Jehovah's Witness girl, if any of the kids at school go to that, let's say they go to church with her or something, and they see her and they're not cool, they will rat to the parents that she's dating somebody that's not a Jehovah's Witness and all that stuff like that. And I'm not kidding. Like, people got transferred to other schools. They didn't see them anymore. Or they had to be away from you, and the girl would be like, I can't talk to you anymore because they found out somebody saw me. Like, it was like that.
Was her family tripping because you weren't Mormon, or because you're black?
Both.
But he doesn't identify as black, but they just don't see that way.
Yeah.
They had a problem. They had a problem with both. So it didn't go over well. So you had to kind of just if you were gonna date a cute Mormon girl, because there was a bunch of them, you had to really kind of think okay, what type of girl am I dealing with here? Is she gonna hide everything where we could still date? And then she's with me, and then at the right time, she's gonna, handle the problem and ride the storm with you and be a trooper? Or is she gonna be that one, the first sign of her parents going, well, I don't know, she's gonna crack, and then you don't see her anymore?
About the woman you married now, is her family like you?
Okay, so there is a story. So mom was cool. Mom's cool with me. Sisters are cool with me. Every brother-in-law, everybody was cool. It was dad and dad's side, and her parents are divorced. So they've been divorced a long time.
That made it a little bit easier, I bet.
Yeah. So I didn't, mom was fine. Dad was he called because I called him. I kept calling him to try to, ask for his permission, be classy about it and all that good stuff. And like, he finally called me out of the blue. And I was like, oh, great. I've been wanting to talk with you and meet with you. And he was just like, let me stop you right there. You're not marrying my daughter. I don't care. It's not happening. You don't have the permission. And I said, okay. And this is the road that you've chosen. And he said, yep, this is it. And I said, okay, well then let's approach it a different way. Your daughter's an adult. I'm an adult. We're both in our 20s. I'm going to marry her, whether if you like it or not. Now, here's the thing. The only way you're going to be able to stop me is if you kill me. So I hope you're prepared for that. And I hope you're a really good shot, because if you miss, I will get you. And that's what I told him.
Damn. What was the dilemma between their parents? Why they divorced?
Her dad is a narcissistic, A-personality engineer guy. And so he was always kind of awkward. And what I was told was that he was always tripping out, and he pushed her mom a bunch of times. Like, just like, damn. And was like putting hands, And
was he a boomer?
Was he what?
Is he a boomer?
He was probably born in the 60s.
Like early 60s, and he's a
early
boomer.
60s.
Yeah, he's a boomer. Yeah.
So he was very like that. And so they, he had eventually taken it too far, and mom was just like, I had enough. And then she finally divorced him. And part 2 to that story was that he barricaded himself in the house. Like, he was supposed to go get some stuff and then leave or whatever, but he like barricaded himself in the house, and he had a restraining order on him. So mom had it, and he cut the wires to the garage door so nobody could get in. So she had to call the police. Yeah. And they came, and he had his rifle out and everything, and was making a fort inside the house. And like, they had to guns drawn, had to get him out and handcuff him. And he did some time in jail.
I don't think it's because of you. I think it's because of his image is why he didn't like you marrying his daughter, to be honest with you. I think that's all it was about, was his image.
Yeah, because he, he's kind of how would I put it? He's kind of embarrassed that he's not this great guy, And then I come along, and I'm not like that. And I actually do my best to be the good guy. And he didn't like that at all. And what's funny is her sister, who's a lot older than I think she's got 10 years on me. Her husband, they went through the same thing with him. But my brother-in-law almost knocked him out. It wasn't good. She jumped in front, and it was like 2 seconds from happening. Like, his hand was already back, and it was already moving. And he stopped it like right here. And she jumped in. But like, dad came outside talking trash to him, like just off the bat.
Do you communicate with him now?
What's that?
Do you communicate with your father-in-law now?
Heck no. I saw him last week, actually, because her brother had graduated from a specialized school, and he was there. So we were all there showing support for him, and he was there, and he just looks at us like we're not there. Or what I do is I catch his attention, I stare him right in the eyes, and I smile at him, and I look right in his face.
Damn right. Fuck him.
And I do that every time, and he looks at me, and then he puts his head down like that, and then he like walks away.
You got a kid with her yet?
Oh yeah, I've got a 7-year-old.
Yeah, I wouldn't let him anywhere near that fucking kid.
No. He gets no rights. He doesn't even acknowledge him, like that he exists, because like people have congratulated him like when he was born. Yeah. That like grew up around, my wife and stuff, like, oh, congratulations on your grandson. And he's like, what grandson? I don't know who he is. I don't know anything about that.
He's going to do a dickhead move and try to cut you off of some inheritance just to be an asshole.
Oh, he can take all his stuff, because there's actually 2 other grandsons too. And he didn't want anything to do with them. And when he retired from his engineer deal, he ended up working at a high school, but the very high school the boys went to when they were there.
Damn.
And he didn't even acknowledge him. He would walk past him. We went to awards nights.
We would make this shit up.
Are the other grandsons pure Caucasian, or
what's that?
Are the other grandsons pure Caucasian?
No, part black, part white, because her sister married a black guy. Yeah.
Oh no. So it's like It's like Beast and
You
Carly.
got double whammy, bro.
So he's got 3 daughters.
He's like,
2 married
no.
black guys and 1 married Asian guy from Chinese descent.
Oh man.
Wow.
So
He's like,
I guess they got burned out, and white guys were like, "I need something different." I'm tired
You know
of
what
doing
they all
that.
said?
man. She's like
Him.
like a
That's
Negro
what they
with
all
a
said
tie.
because of him.
Yep.
They were around him, and they just weren't attracted to guys that were like him. And
I've
those are the kind of
I've
guys
heard
he would bring
from
around.
friends. I've heard from friends that girls that date black guys is because most of the time their dads don't have a backbone, and I think it's true, man.
Bro, wait.
Either that or their dads were just awful. You
Yeah.
know, they were just awful people, and it just kind of just turned them around. It's like, well, they wouldn't be opposed to that, but they definitely don't want to date anybody that's like him. And then a lot of those dads that are like that, they try to bring guys around that are like them. You know, because that's what my wife told me.
Do you blame the brothers for wanting to date a white chick when they're raised by some strong, independent single mom and shit? I mean, I don't blame them.
No, I don't. I've told Corey this. I was like, I don't blame it at all because my mom was like that. I had my dad, but my dad was gone a lot, you know, like working and stuff because he worked in the prison system. So he would like stay out and live in Arizona for long periods of time. And then he would come back on certain weekends and things like that. So I mainly was around my mom and stuff. And I couldn't stand to this day. I couldn't stand her. I still to this day, it's a difficult relationship, but it's like when you hung around my mom, you knew she wasn't good. And you knew like the way she was trying to like show you and raise you and stuff, it wasn't good. And I immediately I rejected it, you know, and I resented her because I was just like, she's an awful person. Like she does some jacked up stuff. You know, so when you start dating and stuff like that, you know, everybody talks about, well, you should marry somebody that's like your mother. And I was like, I don't want to marry anybody like my mother. I want from my mom or my sisters at that. I don't want anything like them either. I've got.
Is she from California, your mom?
My mom's originally from Tennessee, and she came to California in the late 60s.
So she was young.
Yeah. So she came out from nursing school from Freed-Hardman from Tennessee and then came out. Oh, sorry, Tennessee State. And then she came out to California with her sister. And then they both worked at, you know, the Hollywood Hospital and stuff like that out in California, you know. And my dad
broke that generational curse, man, because I think a lot of guys have that with their parents, man.
Oh, yeah. I didn't want to be anything like my parents. They were both a mess. My dad was married 3 times. My mom was married twice. So, I didn't want any part. Yeah, I had had enough.
I got an uncle who we just talked to because there's a death in the family. So I just talked to my uncle. He's been married 4 times. One wife died, but he's been married 4 times. And he always goes back. But that's the backwards Negro from North Carolina way. So I don't know, you know, I don't understand it. Like, why, you know, you think you would in your 60s, you think you would just stop getting married to these women that not quality. They don't pick quality women. And so
that's what happens when you don't look for the things that are really going to have longevity to them, you know, that are really going to have, you know, some challenges, you know, are they cool with those challenges? Cause you know, when I was in the hospital dying from septic shock, back in 22, is it 20? Yeah. Late 22, almost 23. My wife was right there. She changed because I had lost bodily function and my wife had to put diapers on me and change me. And I really couldn't move.
Damn, that's saintly, bro.
She did it. And sometimes as soon as she put it on and got me straightened out, I'd go again and she'd have to change it.
What fixed it? What the hell happened, man? I didn't know about this.
I had chemotherapy. Is what happened. I found out I had an advanced form of MS because Corey knew me before the MS, and then it showed up on my doorstep because my body was shutting down, and I had to go to the urgent care because I thought I had some form of COVID, and then come to find out the old concussions and stuff equaled up to MS of 15 plus years, and I didn't know it. I thought it was something else. I thought it was my pre-cancer coming back or whatever, but it ended up being that. So that was the first step. The second thing was it was so advanced and it had caused so much damage that the conventional ways of treating MS or having some really serious like change, positive progression with it, it was second to none. It wasn't happening. So the only chance I had was to see this doctor that uses the highest level of chemotherapy. They basically kill you. They take some stem cells from you first, cleanse them, and then they give you the high level of chemotherapy, which is beyond cancer patients. They give you the highest, like right there of the danger zone, give you that, and then they put the stem cells back in you and they reboot your system, hoping that they can maybe put a pause on some of the reactions that you have from the MS. So I had to live in the hospital for 4 weeks as they did all this stuff. And then when I came home that night, like a couple hours in, I started throwing up and I was really, really sick. And the next morning I couldn't move and the ambulance had to come get me, put me in a carrier chair, then bring me up the stairs and then put me on the gurney and rush me to the emergency unit. And that's when I found out, I had septic shock and my blood sugar and blood pressure was out the window, where I had to sleep like this. And my legs were up.
Were you having any visions like near-death experiences or anything, dude?
Yeah, I've had them, and I've had them before, because there was a couple other times I almost died. So yeah, I've seen my life flash before my eyes, myself looking over down on myself, and my body's here, the soul is here, and everything in the blink of an eye, not sleeping well, coming back like not normal, because I came back like way different. Like I could just understand things about life and things that I never quite understood. Now they all made sense more after I had that experience, and you had certain feelings and instincts, and at certain times you could hear and see certain things that may or may not make sense, but they were all leading to a point of giving you better guidance. So you kind of get a third eye effect. That's very true. When people talk about that, it's very, very true. You get a third eye effect and you don't come back normal. You have a different way about you. You're essentially a different person than what you were before in so many ways. Yeah, it's a trip.
I can tell you're really humble. And I think a lot of people who go through something like that, it gives them a slice of humble, the rest of their life.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like everything, I tell people at those moments, everything that you thought that really mattered, that you really, really thought was something, most of that stuff doesn't matter. The stuff that really, really matters is what's really important. And all that other stuff is just extra, or it's not things that you should really invest your time in. And you really start understanding that, and you really cherish life, and you don't disrespect it, And that's when, like, I really started thinking, because I just dated, like Corey knows, like I probably dated like hundreds and hundreds of girls, just like randomly, and like just to try it, And then that's when I got serious. It's like, well, what's that really doing for you? Is that really preparing you for somebody you really want to be with and marry and things like that? I was like, no, I'm just date them, see what's going on. It's like, well, you're wasting your time. You could take that time and actually find people worth your time, instead of like these random girls you see at the mall or whatever, or when you would go to like, punk rock shows and run into girls, from the scene. Like, it was nonsense.
When you have intercourse with those women, in my opinion, you get a piece of their demons, man. You got to be careful.
You definitely can. And I had to really start thinking about different ways on how to approach things and how I could heal and move from that, because I had friends. I had a friend of mine, my friend Johnny. He passed away from tonsil surgery, but he was telling me, he called me when he walked away from his wife and kids and wanted to have a midlife crisis, and so he hooked up with all these crazy chicks. And he said he saw who was it? Liarona.
Oh, fuck.
And he said Liarona was like laying on the bed and was like, I know what you do to women. I'm going to make sure that you're taken care of. And he was like trying to get right with God, but he had that thing about the wild lifestyle. So it was kind of clashing back.
Wait. What is Liarona? What is that?
She's this myth in Mexico where this lady had lost like her kid, and she's like this like living ghost, like Bloody Mary kind of deal, where she pops out in random places and steals children and attacks people.
She killed her kids because she didn't get the husband she wanted.
Yeah, she's like, it's a trip. It's like this Bloody Mary thing, like where she shows up like as a ghost, and he saw her, and she talked to him and stuff, and like dude was losing his mind. And I told him, I said, listen, man, here's what you need to do. I said, you need to get right with God. You need to start like changing your life. And you really need to start like seeing if you can get back with your wife and start making things right with her, because you got a cool wife, man. You just wanted to play the field. So you need to like get yourself right. And I said, once you do that, that stuff will go away and you can really start living your life right. It'll be no problem. But if you don't do it, there's a price to pay. Johnny died.
How did the tonsil surgery kill him?
He had it done, and for some reason, he started losing blood. The areas busted open, and he just started losing blood, and they gave him more than 15, 18 pints of blood, and he couldn't hold it down. So he just bled out and died from not holding in the blood. And the last thing that everybody said that they talked to him about, he was talking about me. And stuff we had talked about.
Bleeding out's not fun, dude. You get cold, your organs start shutting down.
No.
Fuck.
He died of horror. And this was like less than 2 years ago. This happened.
He was young, wasn't he?
Yeah, Johnny would have been, let's see, if I'm 41, Johnny would have been 45.
That's young,
man.
He'd
have been about 45. So people don't think about like the consequences for things that you do like that. That stuff's for real. Like it will follow you like bad luggage, man. Like wherever you go, like an STD, man, it'll follow you around for life until you actually deal with it and put that stuff to bed and handle it right. It'll always stalk you, man. And I had some girls that were like, because I came from the punk rock scene. So I had girls I dated girls that were in, that were goth, that were rockabilly girls. And a lot of them were into like some of the witchcraft stuff. I dated a couple girls that were into witchcraft stuff. And yeah, it would ride on your soul, and before you know it, you're already knee deep in some stuff and you didn't even think about it.
So my thing is like, how do you cleanse your spirit? Like, how do you cleanse that shit off of you?
Okay. Voodoo girl or no voodoo girl?
Yo.
Hey, a lot of women are voodoo low key and don't tell you.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. So voodoo girl or no voodoo girl? Which one you want? Or you want both?
Both, yeah, both.
Okay. If you got a voodoo girl, first thing you have to realize is, are you feeling strange? Because if you're feeling strange, that means one big thing. This girl has taken your underwear and buried it in the backyard. Okay, so that's a hex.
What the fuck?
Or the period blood in food. They'll do that shit too.
Yes. Yeah. So you got to look for that underwear. You got to burn the underwear. And once you burn the underwear, you can be truly free. Until that time, you won't want to leave the house. You barely want to go anywhere. You won't talk to any other women. You won't look at any other women. You will be under her control. So that's one way. My friend D, he had that problem, and he had to burn his underwear. He had to burn the underwear. He found it in the backyard and burned it up. So that's what set him free. Now, if it's not voodoo involved, if it's basic witchcraft, here's what you have to do. You have to get the Bible, go to the Old Testament, and get the shepherd's prayer. Okay? If you can get the shepherd's prayer and say that and pray, it will fix things and make things right. So you really have to, you have to ask God to help you. Like that Power Ranger you wanted on Christmas, like that Transformer you wanted, you have to beg like that to the Lord. What you want. If you don't do it right, he won't let you slide. But if he sees you're really trying to be a servant's heart and you're really trying to change, he'll bless you and he'll get that darkness out of there. Because I saw a demon when I was messing with a girl. And it showed up in my room because she had me doing things I shouldn't have been doing, right? And one night, I looked over, like you look over on the side, and there was something that looked like H.R. Giger alien, like a xenomorph, like kicking it right in the. And I was like, "Whoa!" And even though it was dark, you could see what it was. And I immediately said, The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I was going, and I was like, Lord, I know I've messed up, but I promise you, I will leave this wife. I will leave this stuff alone. If you bless me, I will serve you, and I promise I will do things right. I will end what I'm doing. And
I believe you, dude. That shit happened to me when I was dating this crazy girl in Tennessee. Her mom stayed married to this older rich guy, and he was molesting the daughters.
Oh, shoot.
And, yeah, and one time I was spending the night over my girl's house. At the time, I'm not with her anymore, but I woke up. You know how you have a dream and you wake up in the dream,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard a chant, like a deep.
Oh, his internet. Damn, his internet gave out.
Hold on, I'm losing net.
Yeah.
I walked into the bathroom in the dream, and her mom had her mom had her husband's head in the sink, washing her hands above his head, and it was like cut open.
Ooh.
And then the demon said, but right before I woke up, I haunt Julie, which is her sister. I haunt Julie.
Damn, his internet.
And
Bro,
it was like a little like cat demon or something dancing on my chest. Like I could feel like, and then I woke up and I was like, what the fuck? And then I think the dream is that she was washing her hands of the memories of him, and the demon of the abuse haunted her because it made her stronger. And I was just like, man, these chicks, like, who knows what kind of bloodline they had with like witchcraft and shit, dude. Like it was fucking nuts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that freaked me out, man.
That's crazy.
I captured an EVP when I was in Iraq.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was my friends were watching White Noise, and we had EVP. We had recorders for when we interrogated guys we captured, and one of the questions is why do you? Because my buddy Mizell, he always had dreams of demons and stuff, and they asked him, why do you haunt Mizell? And it said in the EVB, it said to survive demons. And it's just like, it's an energy, you know, they survive off of the suffering, the misery. That's their survival. That's their energy. You know, it made sense. And it's just like in the Middle East, out of all places, and it spoke English. The fuck? How do you make sense of that?
Yeah,
I've heard the Middle East is really haunted, man. Like they really got some stuff out there.
Bro, there's some old energy there, man. I had a buddy who was in a sniper team, and they had a hide in an old house in the city, and they could not use it as a hide because shit would move around. Doors would open and close. They'd see people move, and it would compromise their sniper position because it's making too much noise and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because there's a lot of old history and bloodshed there. A lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. There's a lot of things. Like there's stuff that we may not understand, but it exists. There's a lot of things that exist that are out there that have all sorts of crazy histories to them, and some stuff people don't know. Some people have an idea, but it's out there. And I tell people, I'm like, listen, like you got to be careful with that stuff. That's why people misunderstand like what the Bible says, which is there are things out there and God tells you don't worry about those things and focus here. That's why he's telling you that, because he's like, there's stuff out there that, trust me, you don't want to venture into. And once you venture into it, it get real bad.
It's like playing with Ouija boards. It's fucking dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, real dumb. Yeah.
People do that stuff and they think, oh, it's funny, you know. And
well, one time my camera here, about 3 months ago, in my granddad's house, I set up security cameras when I first moved in, and they run off my Wi-Fi. But then they go off every time a human silhouette appears for it. It goes off and tells you to leave the area. It went off in the middle of the night at midnight for no reason about 3 months ago. And nothing was there. There was maybe a few leaves. But it's not supposed to go off for leaves, cat, dog, nothing. Unless a human being's there, it's not supposed to go off. And it went off for no reason.
Anybody died?
Not recently. We just had a death in the family on Monday, but that time there was no recent deaths in the family.
So it's a trip, man. like when you brought that up
But-
about somebody dying, I remember when my dad died, around 1:00 in the afternoon, the doorbell rang and nobody was there. And
Fuck.
I was like right next to the door like this. I happened to be like right in the area. So all I had to do was walk less than a foot and open the door. So nobody could move that quick. And my mom, who's a trip, told me that's happened to her when somebody she was kind of close to died. The doorbell would ring and there'd be nobody there.
Has your kid ever seen spirits or anything? Because usually children are pretty close to the spirit world.
No, he hasn't seen anything that he's told me about, and I hope he never does, because that's something you don't want your kids to kind of roll through. But he does love Ghostbusters, and he does love looking for ghosts, so he might get a kick out of that.
Get you some thermals, dude.
He loves all that. He loves it, man. I was a big Ghostbuster fan because I grew up in that time, but I think he's outdoing me. He goes to the store in his Ghostbuster jumpsuit, like all the time. He wears it to school and he just like walks around in his Ghostbuster gear all day. My proton pack's right there, but he's got his own, but he always takes mine.
What do you guys think about this demon face syndrome? Did you see that?
Demon face syndrome?
I never heard.
I think the veil's getting thin because there's so much fucking dysfunction in this world is why people are seeing it, in my opinion.
Tell me about this demon face thing. What's that about?
Yeah, it was on the news. They said they said it was only 75 cases, but they said people are starting to, when they look at people, they appear to look like a demon in the face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's real weird.
Wow. I've heard about that. People like have seen, like, and it pretty much back when before this came out, when people used to see stuff like that, it meant that was a messed up person. Like you would look at them and you would see a look on their face or a distorted face that would be something out of this world looking, and it was usually a warning. Because I had come across some girls like at moments like you would look at them and you would get this weird feeling like you weren't supposed to like be around this person, kind of a thing. And
that Jezebel spirit's really strong on these women. And remember, they say the Black Mirror, and they're all looking at cell phones.
Yeah.
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 That's the thing about when women are either good or evil. There's no in between.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a trip, man. I was dating this one girl, and like she almost got me killed, because she used to date this guy, and the guy's cousin, at all people, the guy's cousin, he followed me on the freeway home one night, and he was like strapped and ready to shoot at me, and he
For
pulled
what
up.
reason?
We were out back in California in Barstow, so 15 northbound. Yeah.
Shit.
And he was like, pull over. And I was like, nope,
Speaking of Ghostbusters, the backstory with the black guy that played in Ghostbusters?
Ernie Hudson?
Yeah, I watched an interview on him, and he said that he wanted to go deeper in explaining his character because he was a Vietnam vet suffering from Vietnam and PTSD.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to be the Vietnam vet of the group, but they never portrayed it in the show, and I wish they would have, because veterans always like that. So
yeah, that would have been cool. And the kick about Ghostbusters is it's actually Dan Aykroyd, because his family is all spiritual people. Like they look and have seances and talk to ghosts. Like I think Dan Aykroyd himself, I think he's like a 10th generation or something like that. Like spiritual hunter, and like his family is just like built on that. Like his mother, his father, grandparents, like they all did.
Dan Aykroyd got visited by the Men in Black when he was doing the whole UFO shit.
That would not surprise me. Dan Aykroyd is a trip, man. He's super cool dude that's lived a life, but like when you hear his stories of like things he's been around and things he's into or his family's into, like it's weird.
Yeah,
it's really bizarre.
Did you hear about Lou Gossett Jr. died?
I did.
Man, that broke my heart, man. Fucking, he's one of the best actors. Him and Carl Weathers, because Predator's my favorite movie, and it's just
I've met Carl Weathers.
You did?
I did.
What's he like, man?
Okay, so Carl's a real cool guy. He's a very strong guy. Because like when I went over to meet him, I said, "Is it okay if I talk to Mr. Weathers?" I was talking to his assistant. He's like, "I'm right here, young man." You know, he's just very, very strong, clean dresser. He had like a white suit on with white Converse and aviators when I met him. And he's just he's like a man's man.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk to him, he knows about life and he's a real man's man. Like you don't get any nonsense out of him. Like he's not like, he likes acting and he's good at it, but he comes off like kind of like what you would kind of think of like Clint Eastwood. Like he's very like man oriented and he's like, "Listen, young guy," and he's very much like that. So Carl,
guy for real, not just in the movie. He's a tough guy for real.
He's a real dude, and he's no small dude. That's no camera trick. Like I'm about 6'1", almost 6'2". He had to be at least a good 6'3", 6'4" looking. He's
damn.
Yeah, I got drunk off vodka, dude, when I found out he died, just because it was just like, fuck, man. One of my favorite actors in my favorite movies died. It's just like they're all dying, bro. They're getting old, man. They're not young no more.
He was a neat guy. I've met him. I've met Billy D. Williams a couple times.
Yeah, my favorite movie was
as big as Arnold.
Huh?
Carl Weathers' bicep in Predator looked as big as Arnold.
Yeah, well, he was a footballer, wasn't he?
He played for the Oakland Raiders. For a good time. He sure did.
I got a book by Bill Duke. I got Bill Duke's book I've been reading.
Oh wow.
Yeah, man, I've been reading his thing on Predator, man. It was pretty cool, but he's old as shit. Hell, he's pushing his 90s now, man.
Yeah, he's a neat guy. If you ever see interviews with him, he's very insightful. He's really smart. A lot of people don't know how smart Bill Duke actually is and the things he was really responsible for putting together. Like the stuff he wrote, like they would just have him take over TV shows and movies and
his behind the scenes work is just as impressive as on screen.
Yeah, he's a very, very smart guy. You know, I remember his movie. I was just looking at it, the poster of it, Deep Cover.
Yeah,
if you guys ever saw Deep Cover with Lawrence Fishburne and Jeff Goldblum and Clarence Williams?
Very crazy movie, good movie, but it's crazy as hell.
And you know what? Not a lot of people know about that movie, which is crazy.
It's a classic no one really remembers.
The cast was great. The dialogue was great. The pace of the movie, it was fucking awesome, man.
He's a smart dude. He's
like small role. He has a small role in Minister of Society, but it's a scene stealer. He steals a scene as the crazy police officer. He steals the scene.
Yeah. You don't fuck up, right?
Oh, yeah, that's his part. He loves that part, too. He always talks about that. Every interview I've seen him in.
In the Predator movie, he was saying that they had hotel rooms in Mexico, and they didn't tell him that not to drink the water, and he just got done showering, and he got deathly sick on the making of the movie. And he tried to work out with all the guys, with Carl Weathers and Arnold and shit, for like 3 days, and he was like, because they got up at 3 a.m. to work out and shit, and he didn't want to do all that. He said, "Fuck that," and they called him like late, like sissy or whatever. Like they gave him shit for not wanting to work out. And then he was saying that when they were in the jungles, they had special forces guys teach them how to move through the jungle to flow like special forces, and if you watch it, they push through that jungle like they know what the fuck they're doing, man. And that was excellent.
I know Jesse and Richard Chavez that played Poncho had a big contributing factor to that, because the guy that played Poncho, Richard Chavez, was he was a Vietnam.
He was an infantryman. He was a combat infantryman. Yeah, he seen trigger time.
And Jesse, being with his SEAL training, he kind of restructured a lot of things, So, I mean, they had some really good guidance on that movie.
Richard Chavez didn't play in many movies after Predator, man.
No, I didn't really remember him doing a lot of things. And he was really cool in that movie. So you would imagine that he would do more things, but maybe he just wasn't. He did it and he wasn't that interested. You know?
Did you mention him as Warpath from X-Men in a live-action movie done right?
Oh, you talking about Sonny Landham that played
Sonny
Billy.
Landham. Oh,
yeah, he died in Kentucky, man. I could have met him and I didn't. I kicked myself, man. Him and Carl both died at the same age too, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think from both the same thing, congestive heart failure.
Damn. Well,
Sonny Landham was a scary dude. They told some stories about him, like he's just wild. Like he had bodyguards to keep him away from other people because he was so just intense.
He did pornography too before he did Hollywood.
That does not surprise me because that dude was wild.
Do you think some of these 80s actors are dying, the ones that were muscled up because of steroid use?
I think that it could be a contributing factor because if they're having congestive heart failure issues and things in that department, heart, chest areas, that can come from steroid abuse, from not cycling that stuff right. You know,
Sonny lost both his legs in a car accident too in 2005.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he lost both his legs and he went to prison for something. I think he was threatening his wife or something, and he went to prison for 3 years over that. I didn't know that.
That does not surprise me. That dude was wild.
Yeah, I could have met him, bro. I was not too far from him when I lived in Kentucky, and he was pro America, veterans, all that stuff, and I just never. And remember the sword, the knife he used to cut his chest. He said he gave it to a friend. He don't know whatever happened to it, but he gave it to a friend. But yeah, he never kept it. But that's probably the best representation of a warrior's death was that scene.
I read a comic book where it shows his battle with the Predator. It was like
you think Predator decloaked when he seen Billy?
In the comic book, they said that they showed that he did decloak and they fought each other like one-on-one. And then the Predator ended up getting the better of him, because he was just more skilled and super strong.
Yautja are all about honor.
No,
that's
the Yautja. Is there a species called the Yautja?
Yautja.
Yeah. They're all about honor.
Arnold was supposed to do Predator 2, but they hired what's his face instead?
Danny Glover?
Danny Glover, yeah. And I tell you, man, I think Predator 2 was a great sequel, man. You got a teaser with aliens with the skeleton. You had fucking a great cast. You had a little bit more of like the gear, different types of weapons the Predator used. I just always been a fan of the Predator franchise, man. I think they're great. I wish they would have done a backstory on like the guys that were in the first Predator, like when they did combat back in the day, like recast guys and like, show them all like doing their operations and shit before. But
there's stories that they wrote about it. And there were stories that were written when they were doing the movie. They had bios because Arnold Dutch was supposed to be he was supposed to be in an internment camp from Vietnam. And that's how he met Dylan, because Dylan helped rescue him and pull him out of the camp. And they worked together on missions. That's why I trusted him so much.
Where did you find all this information?
I think you can get it on Wikipedia when it talks about the script. I'll see, because and another thing that they don't tell you is, how Carl Dylan was in charge on the mission, right?
Yeah,
like he was like the guy because he outranked him. He was known as Colonel George Dillon. Was his full name?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he outranked Arnold because Arnold's character Dutch, he was a major, so he outranked him by one rank. But that's why he could supersede him. Because
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I still, he let him know I still outrank you, but that's why they knew each other. Because he helped rescue him for that POW camp, and they started working together, so they knew each other, so they had a history. Because
there was a couple analogies in the movie I think people overlook is you notice when Arnold and Dylan handshaked, it was with his right arm.
Yeah.
And then he had his right arm blown off by the Predator.
Yeah.
And then when Mac was killed the scorpion, he stepped on it and moved his foot over the scorpion. The Predator basically smushed him and moved his foot over his head, like killed him like a bug.
That's a good thing you bring up there.
Yeah, because it's the same thing. And I think the Predator killed well, I mean, he was all wiping them out because they were hard to kill, but I think a lot of times the Predator killed him because he was so out of control that there was no like honor killing him anymore because he just went nuts. So that's why he just killed him that way.
I just wish Jesse Ventura lasted longer in the movie because like he was so cool.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, well, you got to think tactically, man. Who was the first guy to get killed? The biggest weapon in the military is the radio. So you kill the radio man first, right?
Yeah, they killed him first.
The secondary is your base of fire, your machine gunner. Who was the machine gunner?
Jesse was, yeah.
There you go. So I mean, tactically, it makes sense because in the military,
the Predator, he's a master tactician. He's gonna go for go down the line strategically. You know,
did he have to kill Poncho though? He was already broken and couldn't walk.
I think it was another mercy kill because he was wounded and he wanted to get to Arnold, and he was armed. He had a weapon.
They show that, and the that parody, the how it should have ended, shows the Predator is like, you want a rifle?
Yeah.
If you get a weapon, he go.
Yeah, I like. Maybe you should put a leash on her, Agent Man. I always like that line.
Oh, when she tries to escape and everything.
Yeah. And that was the other thing is when she ran away, did she get to the chopper? Like, did they find her? And that's
she ended up on the chopper, so she's there. So she had to have gotten there.
Yeah, you know, Kevin Peter Hall was in the helicopter at the end of the movie, so he could.
Yeah, he's got the sunglasses on with the helmet.
Yeah, I researched a little bit on Kevin Peter Hall, man, and he got AIDS from a car accident and got a blood transfusion.
Yeah,
and it fucking sure did. And his wife, I think she died too. They're both gone, man.
My mom met him,
Kevin Peter Hall, like
at a Luther Vandross concert back in the day. She told me, she was like, I met the guy that was at Harry and the Henderson and the Predator. He was at the show with his wife, and he was real nice. And I was like, cool.
I wish I would have met him, man. I everything I see is he was just a really nice person, man.
I got a question for you guys. Because I know we got some veterans on here. What's your thoughts on that Civil War trailer?
I'm gonna go see that movie tomorrow, man. But
it looks crazy.
It looks good.
What's your thoughts on, like, is it like predictive programming? You know, from y'all perspective.
Probably, I think it's definitely to induce fear, but in my opinion, most Americans ain't about shit and they ain't gonna do shit. As long as there's electric, water, and TikTok on your cell phone, nobody's gonna do a damn thing.
I like how you put that. That's 100% correct. I can't disagree with that. As long as they're occupied, they got their Starbucks and their ugly haircuts and everything. You know, they don't care.
And then you got to think, man. I'm worried that they're going to kick open a draft because I don't know if you've seen this, Armchair, but they're talking about bringing back guys in the military. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that. But my discharge paperwork says I can't go back.
Well, then you're good. But shit, World War III kicks off. They're going to get your old ass back in. You just watch.
No, they ain't getting me back.
They did it in Russia. Yeah, but I ain't going back. I mean,
see, my separation code prevents me from going out without requesting a waiver at a recruiter's office. So
I think that Civil War thing, man, be honest with you, dude, we've been overdue for some type of reprisal, and I don't want physical altercation, but we've been oppressed physically
way too long.
Way too long, man. Way too long.
The police are out of control. The government's out of control. So, but the movie though is very smart about they did it. They did the movie. I hear about the whole through the movie. You never get a clear reason why the Civil War happened. You just hear the president is killing civilians and doing illegal things with the police, killing using airstrikes on civilians. So, but they don't say why and what all the factions are fighting for in the movie. It's just showing you on the ground the war footage on the ground with the reporters with the cameras on the ground is how it's. That's Kristen Dunst and our team are just the reporters reporting all the combat, but you don't get a reason why in the film to keep it ambiguous. It's not Trump versus Biden or conservatives, Democrat. Or
I forgot she is in the movie, isn't she?
She's the lead. She's the lead actress.
She needs to go sit down with this Spider-Man talk.
What'd she say?
She basically talked about pay differences between her and Tobey Maguire when he was doing Spider-Man, and she felt that she kind of deserved the same money that he was getting. And I was like, the movie's called Spider-Man, not Mary Jane, man.
That is true.
You know?
God damn, she already making millions. How much more money you want?
Exactly. Yeah. And I've never been in the Spider-Man comics. I've never been a fan of Mary Jane anyway.
I'm like, she's not worth like
she's typical damsel in distress. Superhero sweat
cat.
Pussy.
I'd rather have Silver Sable. Hell, Black Cat. Hell, female.
Shit. No, I want fucking Jean Grey from the cartoons, dog. She was that perfect redheaded thickness, dude.
You like?
So you have to fight Cyclops for that. Wolverine. You have to fight Wolverine and Cyclops for that. So good luck.
Was it Jean Grey? No. Which one was it? Who was one that wore the leather jacket with the blue and
Rogue.
Rogue. That's it. Rogue.
Oh, yeah, like Rogue.
Yeah.
Rogue was it.
I love Rogue too. I love Rogue.
Prime time right there.
That Southern Belle.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, I read an old comic back in the day, dude, that talked about in the 90s of who they would cast, and Gambit was supposed to be
Jean-Claude.
And then Professor X was still, and then Michael Biehn would have been Cyclops.
That would have been awesome.
Perfect.
I had that Wizard magazine. It was number 14, I believe, of Wizard magazine where they had that cast.
Yeah, and I think Bishop was going to be the black dude from Star Trek.
Yeah, it was Michael Dorian. Yeah,
dude, why didn't they do a Bishop? You know,
Bryan
what I'm saying?
Singer ruined the movie.
And then they had Clint Eastwood as Cable.
Makes perfect sense. Perfect. Yeah.
Like they had the whole thing, and then Glenn Danzig was supposed to be Wolverine. You know, if you guys are from the punk rock scene, I know him because he was the lead singer of the Misfits when they were going. But he's kind of short and buff with chops, so he would have, he would have worked out.
That works.
They had Dolph Lundgren as Colossus. I remember that.
I remember reading that one too.
That's perfect casting.
Yeah,
that would have been a hit too, really man. It'd have been a fucking hit, man.
Man, the movie is such a really not that good of a movie. The Bryan Singer version we got, so with very little action, so it was a hit. Just because you have X-Men on screen, that's it. So actually, it's not a good movie.
The only high point in the movie to me that drew my attention was the tension between Wolverine and Sabretooth.
That was only the good thing about the original film. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That was the only thing that was like, I wish they would have just done that more, because the guy that played Sabretooth the first one, I think did a better job.
Well, guys, there was a plan before that movie for James Cameron. James Cameron was going to do it.
Damn,
way better.
Chris Claremont tells the story about that. He said, James Cameron people contacted us at Marvel, and we met. We actually went down to his studio and before he had Lightstorm, and we met with him, and he wanted to do it, and they were gonna do it. But what happened was, that's when Stan Lee was all, I heard you're a Spider-Man fan. And he said when he mentioned Spider-Man, then James Cameron's attention went to Spider-Man automatically. Then he wanted to do Spider-Man right away.
Damn.
He said that's what happened. So then Michael Biehn was supposed to originally be Peter Parker.
Get out of here.
That's
what would have been good. That's what would have been good. I mean, he was young enough at the time to play him. That's all would have been good.
And
Maguire was old as shit.
Cameron was the guy that came up with the organic webs. To have him just be able to have webs come out and not.
I never liked that. I never liked that as a Spidey fan.
No, I like the web shooters too, but he was the first one because people want to give Sam Raimi credit for the organic webs, but it was actually Cameron came up with that idea.
Well, I hate whoever made it. I don't like it. The whole thing of Spider-Man is
the science and then building the web shooters.
He's intelligent. He got bit by a spider, but was already a whiz at science. So
Yeah, if Cameron was going to be into that, he already had a script. He already had the actors lined up. He had years of fucking of studying to get that shit going too.
I know they wanted Angela Bassett as Storm, and then Bob Hoskins as Wolverine was the cast that I knew of that they had mentioned.
Hey, so that could have worked. That could have worked.
So they were trying to do it back then. Yeah, they were looking at it, and they almost had it done.
Because the movie we got was just a piss poor attempt at it. When in hindsight, it's as a kid I didn't realize it, but now I know that it's such a piss poor attempt. because it didn't. I mean, what they wasted Rogue in the movies is just a bad movie.
Well, I mean, look who directed it was a known pedophile that was trafficking kids.
Gay pedophile. I mean, gay. I guess we can't say on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
P word, but yeah, kid toucher.
And he still didn't get in trouble for that.
Boy toucher. Yeah.
No, I haven't heard about him getting
because he's in like Flynn with Hollywood, man. So he.
You know where that saying "in like Flynn" came from?
No.
Errol Flynn. You ever heard of
Errol
that?
Flynn? Oh, Errol Flynn. Okay.
Errol Flynn was
Original
big
Peter
on picking up chicks, and that was the saying. He's in like Flynn when it comes to
that. I'm a big Errol Flynn fan, so I love all his movies. Captain Blood. He's the original Robin Hood. I loved his.
He was a real boxer too, and he got his first. He got laid because his dad was rich, and he had like African maids, and like his first pieces of ass was his African maids that his dad hired when he was a kid.
That's awesome, man.
I watched a documentary on it. It was fucking nuts, man.
Errol Flynn's a trip, man. You know, there's that story about him being a Nazi sympathizer that always floated around. I don't know. Nobody's been able to prove it, but they talked about how he could have, like, that what brought it up was, you guys remember The Rocketeer?
Yeah.
91?
That Neville Sinclair character, they said that was supposed to be Errol Flynn.
It looked a lot like him.
And that's why they say that was based upon a story of Errol Flynn being a Nazi sympathizer, because that's what Neville Sinclair, his character that Timothy Dalton played, was representing. So I don't know.
Well, Errol Flynn couldn't go into World War II because of his heart condition, and he was always mad about that because a lot of actors volunteered and did shit during World War II.
That's true.
And he didn't have, and that's when his popularity started to sink afterwards.
Yeah, because Audie Murphy was the most decorated out of that group. Like, he was bad as bad could get. Like, they said that dude, like, was shutting down people left and right. Between him and Christopher Lee, they were probably the most elite out of that actor group. Because you know about Christopher Lee, right?
Yeah, he was a British commando, or
he was
Scottish
a Nazi.
commando.
Yeah, he was a Nazi headhunter, and he was the best at doing that. And especially was like close counter, like knifing people. Like, he was like real rough.
Audie Murphy, I read up on, or my neighbor is a pilot, and I asked him about his plane crash. Like, how did he die? And basically, he was ejected from the plane when it crashed, and he was just smacked into a bunch of trees. Like,
oh my gosh!
Yeah, that's what killed him, man. He died, and he was anti-war. He was anti-Vietnam.
Wow.
Before he died, he was very anti-war, and it was just sad because imagine the most decorated soldier of World War II speaking out against the war. You know,
Vietnam had a lot of things going on with it that a lot of people could not get behind. That's why I couldn't exactly, like, I know people talk about Muhammad Ali draft dodging and things, but his point.
He didn't draft dodge. He went to prison over it. He didn't.
Yeah, he just like he just. They're like, he's a Dodger, and it's like, his point was, okay, if everybody goes to this war, when they come back home, are they all going to be treated the same? You know? And they were like, and so he's like, well, then no, you know, because he's like, why are we going to do that? Because he heard the horror stories about people coming back from World War II in Korea, and then they couldn't go eat a lunch counter after they had did their service. So he was like, well, that's kind of lame. So I couldn't blame him for that, because my dad, he was drafted for Korea. That's how old my dad was. And he came back home and couldn't eat at the lunch counter. And that's why when they brought him to California, he went into LA, and there were places that he actually could go to as opposed to the South, you know? Yeah, and that was a big deal. That was a big deal.
You think that's why there was a migration of black folks to LA, because it wasn't so judgmental?
Oh, I could tell you from firsthand experience that's what happened, because that's why my dad came here.
Damn.
You know? So my dad went to Korea, and then when he was supposed to go get loaded up on the U-boats and do the whole thing, then the war was over, so he didn't have to go. But they had put him in Barstow, California at Fort Airwood. So he was training with the Army Rangers and found out he had advanced diabetes because he was doing some training maneuvers. His body just kind of dropped off, and he had to spend time in the medical bay till they discharged him. and he had heard about California, and he knew he wanted to come here because he came from Arkansas. And the milk truck driver thought my dad's uniforms were cool. So my dad's like, I'll trade you the uniforms for a ride into Los Angeles. So from Barstow to Los Angeles is about 3 hours. So my dad did the 3-hour drive, and that's what brought him to Los Angeles and California, and the rest was history, and that's how I got here.
Damn. My grandpa was an immigrant from Sicily.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a chow hall at Fort Polk. And you ever seen in the military where there's like a black chef or a chow hall guy, and he's always going, "Come on, next man, come on, next." Yeah. It was in Fort Polk, Louisiana. So we're talking about deep South black. And this guy goes, "Pacone." And I'm like, "What the fuck does this big old dude want?" He goes, "Come here." I was like, "What's going on?" And I'm like a specialist, And he goes, do you know a guy named Dennis? And I go, "Yeah, that's my uncle." And he goes, "And your daddy name is Mike?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, baby, we used to smuggle cocaine back in the 70s. Me and you had a great friend." I was like, "What the fuck?" And then he's like, "Call your dad right now." And I called my dad, and him and them two were bullshitting. And when he got off the phone, he said, "I want to tell you something." He said, "Your grandfather, who was an immigrant from Sicily," he says, he always let me feel like I was one of the family, and I never felt like I was out of place being black." He said, and I said, "Well, why?" He said, "Because Sicilians were judged hard."
Yeah, they were.
Back in those days. And he says, he treated me just like anybody else. And he said, "I want you to remember that. Your grandpa was not racist. He treated me just like I was one of your dads or your uncle." I was like, "Well, that's cool. Thanks, man. But fucking what's up with the smuggling coke shit?"
I can tell you stories about back in the day because I had relatives that were old enough, and they told me what it was like. I knew it from the Italian side, and I knew, it's kind of like the Zoot Suit riot, the untold story of the Zoot Suit riot, because it was over military wool jumpsuits. The military wanted more suits, to get more of their uniforms, and they were saying there wasn't enough wool. So what happened was they had blamed a lot of the guys with the Zoot Suits and that were getting suits done for that whole situation is what ended up happening. And a lot of the guys that were getting attacked a lot of them were Hispanic, Filipino guys that were getting jumped left and right by a lot of the soldiers at the time and people that were back in that. So pretty much what happened was the NAACP at the time had jumped in to help protect, a lot of the Pachucos and Zoot Suit guys. And they backed it, and they actually helped them out, and they ended up shutting the whole thing down, and then that's how that thing ended. So it's kind of funny coming to 2024 and to see everybody so divided when back in the day
it wasn't like that.
Yeah, they jumped in and helped out. It was like, "Oh, they're in trouble, we'll come down there and help you out." So it's kind of weird to kind of see how things were going, because you have to look at like even Asian Americans or immigrants were cool with people in the black community, the Hispanic community, and everything, because we were all there together and we were all helping each other. And then look at 2024, all can't stand being around each other. So it's
well, I think it depends where you're from, because I'm from West Palm Beach, Florida, and it's very multicultural. And like I got along with all my friends from California because it's the same thing, kind of multicultural.
Yeah.
When I grew up, I had an uncle, and my dad was a pilot. He flew for the Florida government to take scientists to the Everglades. And when I grew up, there was a black guy named Uncle JK. We called him Uncle Jake. And he was a black guy, and he was my uncle. And we grew up like that. Like nobody tripped over that shit in Florida, because you had Cubans. You had, what were the African people that speak French?
Haitian.
Haitian. They had Haitians. They had Ecuador, El Salvador. You had Asians, Italians, a lot of migrators from up north. So like it wasn't that big deal to me. But my my best friend in the Army, Sergeant Lawson, he was a black dude from Alabama. When he went to basic in the 90s, like 1991, he said he was in formation, and a white guy in basic with him came up to him and was staring at him for like 10 minutes. He's like, "What the fuck's your problem?" He said, "I've never seen a black guy before." 91. Like,
yeah.
I've never seen one before.
People, that's the thing. People don't know that. A lot of people, their interactions with other people at that time in certain states, they had not seen a lot of stuff. So when they came across certain people, like it was kind of a trip because they had never been around that.
Yeah, and he's like Wesley Snipes black. Like he looked like the black guy that died recently. That was in Glory and in and was in the Nicolas Cage Angels movie. You remember Glory? Remember Glory? You seen Glory, right?
Glory, yeah.
Remember the Glory? The guy with the glasses that was kind of the weak one, but ended up.
Yeah, I remember that dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he died recently, but he looked just like him. Like they looked identical. Yeah, but he looked like he was like Wesley Snipes dark dude.
See, where I'm from in SoCal, like when my family left LA due to the riots, they came to San Bernardino County, the high desert of Southern California. So Victorville, Apple Valley, Hesperia, Barstow's 30 minutes away. San Bernardino's here, Riverside's here. They had a neo-Nazi problem times a million, and this was in 1990. This is 89, 90. I'm talking
was going down in the 90s in California.
It's still there. It's still there. When I was in high school,
California, man, why are they tripping?
This is what people don't know. This is what I've been educating Corey on. I'm like, dude, they've got neo-Nazis like you've never seen. I'm talking like you go to the mall and you would see people wear swastika t-shirts in 89, 90, just like and looking at you. And me coming from LA, I had never seen that. You know, like people didn't do that in LA.
And then you have black folks in the South tripping, and you're in California seeing it firsthand.
The Grand Dragon lived in Fontana. Fontana's 15 minutes away from Victorville.
Damn.
Yeah. So, and then he ended up moving to San Diego or something like that later. But yeah, they lived out there. There's a place in Hesperia where my best friend lives in Hesperia, California, where this guy has a Nazi flag flying from the top of his house. And he has Nazi stickers all over his mailbox. He's been there for years.
Holy shit.
People are upfront with that stuff. Like, I'm serious. Like, I've seen people do Hitler salutes in the middle of the day at the Victorville Mall. I'm not kidding.
God.
Hey, real quick. I got to get up out of here. My phone's about to die. But I appreciate listening to you guys' stories, man.
Yeah, no, thanks.
Yeah, you
Thanks
too,
for
Loki, man.
coming on, and hope you come back.
All right, yo, Armchair. I appreciate you making a show happen, bro.
Yeah, no problem, man.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
Be cool.
Be grateful.
I'm telling you guys, I've seen some weird stuff, man, and people don't think. They don't think it happens in SoCal.